What if everything you believe about strength is wrong? What if the loudest person in the room, the one demanding attention, the one who never backs down, is actually the weakest one there? Real power doesn't shout. It doesn't need to. And once you understand why, you'll never look at confidence the same way again. Most people grow up thinking that magnetism is something you're either born with or you're not. They assume it belongs to people with perfect faces, booming voices, or rare talent. But that idea is completely backwards. True presence has nothing to do with how you look or sound. It has everything to do with how grounded you are inside. Walk into any room and you'll notice something interesting. The person radiating the most power is usually the one saying the least. They don't react to every little thing. They don't need to prove anything. They simply stand there, fully in control of themselves. And somehow that quiet control becomes impossible to ignore. This kind of strength can't be bought. It can't be borrowed. And it definitely can't be faked. It's built slowly through discipline. It's sharpened through hardship. And it's protected through awareness. Every hard moment life throws at you does one of two things. It either strengthens who you are, or it exposes the cracks that were already there. Which one happens depends entirely on how you choose to respond. Here's the trap most people fall into. They spend their whole lives trying to impress people, chasing approval, craving recognition, needing to be validated. But the harder they chase these things, the further away those things seem to drift. Why does this happen? Because people are instinctively drawn toward those who don't seem desperate for their approval. We respect people who stay calm when everything around them is falling apart, who remain patient in the middle of uncertainty, and who hold their composure even when their emotions are screaming at them to lose it. Being mentally tough isn't about never feeling pain. It's about staying steady while the pain is happening. Think about a mountain during a storm. The storm doesn't shrink the mountain. It doesn't move it an inch. The mountain just stays exactly where it is. That's what a disciplined mind looks like too. It doesn't crumble just because life gets hard. Difficult times don't create weakness. They simply reveal how deep your discipline actually goes. Every single morning, you're handed a choice between two roads. One is easy. The other actually means something. The easy road tells you to sleep in, to complain about everything, to dodge responsibility, and to keep pushing your growth off until later. The meaningful road asks something different of you. It asks you to get up before you've talked yourself out of it, to face things that make you uncomfortable, and to keep improving even when there's nobody around to see it. Here's something most people get backwards. They think confidence shows up after success. They wait to believe in themselves until they've already accomplished something big. But that's not how it actually works. Confidence is built long before any big achievement happens. It grows quietly, every single time you keep a small promise to yourself. Every discipline you follow through on becomes proof, real evidence, that you can trust your own word. And that kind of self-trust is the real foundation everything else gets built on. Now here's something worth thinking about. The world around you is built to steal your focus. Notifications pulling at you constantly. Other people's opinions flooding in. Endless comparisons. Entertainment that never stops. Every single one of these quietly chips away at your ability to concentrate. And here's the thing. A mind that can't focus can never become a powerful mind. Wherever your attention flows, your life follows right behind it. So if your attention belongs to everyone else, your life will never truly belong to you either. Take a closer look at people who carry real inner strength. You'll notice they rarely feel the need to announce it. They're not fighting for attention because they've already won the toughest battle there is, the one against their own restless mind. They understand something most people miss. The loudest voice in the room isn't always the strongest one. A lot of the time, noise is just insecurity looking for somewhere to land. Real growth starts the moment excuses stop. Every excuse you make protects your comfort while quietly killing your potential. Every complaint you voice hands your power straight over to your circumstances. Every bit of self-pity becomes another brick stacked up in a prison you're building for yourself, one you'll eventually have to tear down. Freedom starts with taking responsibility. And responsibility starts with being honest with yourself. Picture standing in front of a mirror that hides nothing. Not your wins, not your losses, just your habits laid completely bare. Because habits are what actually reveal who you are. Motivation might carry you through a single day, but your habits decide who you become for the rest of your life. Some people just seem to have this natural pull to them wherever they go. People listen when they talk. They stay steady under pressure. Their presence brings calm instead of confusion into a room. That's not some kind of magic trick. It's simply the result of years spent mastering themselves instead of trying to control everyone else around them. Think of your mind like a garden. Leave it alone, and weeds grow on their own. No effort required. Fear, anger, envy, laziness, doubt. None of these need an invitation. But things like wisdom, patience, courage, and compassion, those have to be planted on purpose every single day, or they simply won't grow. The condition of your inner world directly shapes the quality of your outer life. Every hard conversation you sit through is training. Every failure you survive is training. Every lonely stretch of time is training. Every disappointment you face is quietly preparing you to become stronger than the person who walked into that challenge in the first place. The obstacle itself was never really your enemy. Your refusal to learn something from it, that's the real enemy. Today isn't about turning into a completely different person overnight. It's about stripping away whatever is weakening you right now. Cut the distractions that don't serve you. Cut the constant comparing yourself to others. Cut the excuses. Cut the emotional reactions that keep stealing your peace of mind. And as all of that starts to fall away, your true strength doesn't need to be built from scratch. It simply reveals itself because it was there underneath the whole time. Here's something worth sitting with. The most powerful change happening in your life is often completely invisible to everyone else. Nobody claps for you when you drag yourself out of bed early. Nobody throws a celebration when you choose patience instead of anger, or silence instead of a heated argument. And yet, these unseen victories are exactly what build an unshakable foundation, one that no outside success could ever replace. Throughout history, the greatest warriors all understood one thing that never changes. Before you can conquer anything out in the world, you first have to conquer yourself. Beating someone else is only temporary, but beating your own impulses? That victory sticks with you for good. This is exactly why the strongest people you'll meet are usually the calmest ones too. They've already fought their hardest battles, and those battles happen quietly on the inside. So today, we're going to walk through 7 habits that quietly shape truly exceptional people. These aren't shortcuts. They won't hand you instant success, and they definitely won't offer you empty motivational fluff. Instead, they forge a kind of character that holds steady, even when life turns unpredictable. They build a presence that earns respect without ever demanding it. They train a mind that stays clear, even while everyone around it is drowning in fear, distraction, and emotional chaos. These 7 habits genuinely have the power to make you magnetic. Not because people are impressed by your achievements, but because they recognize something much rarer. The strength of someone who learned to master himself before trying to master anything else in life. Now think about this. Every single sunrise offers a quiet invitation that almost nobody notices. Before your phone starts buzzing, before messages start demanding a response, before the noise of the whole world reaches your ears, there's this rare window of time that belongs entirely to you, untouched by expectations, untouched by other people's opinions, untouched by distraction. This is the hour where your character actually gets shaped. This is where discipline quietly starts its work, long before anyone else is even awake to notice. A lot of people assume that waking up early is just about squeezing more hours out of the day. But that completely misses the point. The real value of your morning has nothing to do with the clock. It has everything to do with the state of your mind. A calm morning builds a calm mind. A rushed, chaotic morning builds a restless one. And how you start your day usually determines the quality of every single decision that follows it. Look at how nature starts its day. The sun doesn't rush up into the sky. The trees aren't fighting each other for space. The birds aren't comparing their songs to see whose is better. Everything just moves at its own rhythm, fully present in the moment. Nature is teaching us something important here. Real strength is never rushed. Power moves with patience. And yet, so many people start their morning by immediately handing away their attention. Before their feet even touch the floor, they're already reaching for their phone. They let strangers' worries flood into their minds before they've even said good morning to themselves. They consume endless information before they've produced a single meaningful thought of their own. Without even realizing what's happening, they let the outside world decide the emotional tone of their entire day, before they've had a single chance to decide it for themselves. If your very first habit each morning is to react, you'll spend the rest of the day reacting too. But if your first habit is to lead yourself, that leadership carries into everything else you do. Your morning isn't just another slot on your schedule. It's the foundation your entire inner world gets built on top of. Picture constructing a temple. If the foundation underneath is weak, it doesn't matter how beautiful the walls look. Eventually, the whole structure comes down. Your habits work exactly the same way. A peaceful morning strengthens you for every challenge that comes later in the day. There's something deeply symbolic about rising before the world gets loud. It's a quiet statement that your priorities come before your distractions. It tells your own mind, I choose growth over comfort. I choose awareness over entertainment. I choose discipline over excuses. And discipline rarely shows up in dramatic, obvious moments. It's built through small, quiet decisions, repeated over and over. The decision to get out of a warm bed when every excuse in your head is begging you to stay. The decision to sit in silence while the rest of the world is racing toward the next distraction. The decision to push your body when comfort whispers that tomorrow will somehow be easier. Each one of these moments looks small on its own, but stacked together, they become the architecture of an extraordinary life. Most people wait around for motivation before they take any action. They assume action follows emotion. But people who become genuinely mentally strong understand it the other way around. Action creates emotion. You don't wake up already disciplined. You become disciplined because you act regardless of how you happen to feel that day. Some mornings you'll feel full of energy. Other mornings, your body will resist every single movement you try to make. And it's on those hard mornings that your real character gets revealed. Anyone can stick to a routine when it feels effortless. It's the person who follows through when every emotion is arguing against it, who's actually building something real. Your emotions are temporary visitors passing through. Your principles need to become permanent residents that stay. Think about an archer preparing to release an arrow. Before that arrow can fly forward, it has to be pulled backward first. Life often works the exact same way. Waking up early might feel uncomfortable. Sitting quietly instead of sleeping in might feel like a sacrifice. Exercising while everyone else stays comfortable might feel hard. But these moments of temporary resistance are exactly what generate the force that pushes your life forward. So many people complain about lacking confidence. But confidence can't exist without evidence to back it up. Every promise you keep to yourself becomes proof that you're someone reliable. Every morning you get up when you told yourself you would. Your self-respect grows just a little bit stronger. Confidence is really just trust, earned through action you repeat over and over again. This is exactly why your relationship with yourself matters more than your reputation with anyone else. The world might praise you while, deep down, you know you're dodging your own responsibilities. Or the world might overlook everything you're doing while you quietly grow stronger, day after day, whether anyone notices or not. The mirror doesn't care about your good intentions. Your habits are what become your reflection. Morning discipline also teaches you something else: patience. In today's culture, everyone wants instant transformation. People expect visible success after only a handful of attempts. But look at bamboo. It spends years growing roots underground, completely invisible, before it suddenly shoots up toward the sky at incredible speed. Anyone judging that bamboo during its early years would assume nothing is happening at all. They mistake invisibility for failure. Your own growth often follows this exact same path. You might wake up early for weeks without noticing any dramatic change. You might sit in stillness every day without instantly feeling peaceful. You might push your body each morning without seeing remarkable results right away. But underneath the surface, roots you can't see are quietly growing stronger. Your nervous system becomes calmer. Your focus sharpens. Your resilience builds without you even noticing it happen. The biggest transformations almost always happen long before they become visible to anyone, including you. There's also real wisdom in protecting the first moments of your day from unnecessary noise. Silence isn't emptiness. Silence is where clarity actually lives. In silence, you start hearing thoughts that constant distraction has been drowning out. You start recognizing fears that need courage, not avoidance. You start noticing habits that no longer serve who you're trying to become. Most people are afraid of silence simply because they've never learned to sit comfortably with themselves. They constantly chase stimulation because stillness forces them to face the person they've been avoiding all along. But mental strength begins the exact moment you stop running from your own mind. When you wake before the rest of the world does, you take back ownership of your attention. Instead of absorbing endless opinions from everyone else, you build your own understanding. Instead of reacting to every single notification, you strengthen your ability to choose what actually deserves your energy. Attention is your most valuable resource. And whatever keeps receiving your attention over and over eventually shapes who you are. So ask yourself something honest. If someone watched your first hour every single morning for an entire year, what kind of person would they predict you're turning into? Would they see someone preparing for excellence or someone preparing to stay distracted? Every morning is essentially a vote you're casting toward your own future. Your body remembers what your mind repeatedly practices too. If every sunrise starts with stress, your nervous system learns tension as its baseline. If every sunrise starts with presence, your nervous system learns stability instead. This is exactly why ancient practitioners valued their morning rituals so highly. They understood that inner peace isn't something you stumble into by accident. It has to be cultivated on purpose. Picture carrying a completely full cup of water through a crowded marketplace. People are pushing past you. Loud voices surround you from every direction. Unexpected obstacles keep popping up out of nowhere. Whether that water spills or not depends far less on the crowd around you, and far more on how steadily you're carrying the cup yourself. Life is exactly that crowded marketplace. Your morning practice is the training that teaches you how to carry your inner peace without spilling it at every small inconvenience life throws your way. Don't underestimate what these quiet hours are actually building. Long before promotions get earned, relationships get strengthened, businesses get built, or dreams turn into reality, there's one simple daily decision that almost nobody ever applauds. It's the decision to rise before your excuses wake up, to build yourself up before serving everyone else's demands, and to create inner order before facing outer chaos. People who master this habit stop chasing control throughout their day because they already built that control inside themselves, long before the world ever got a chance to take it from them. One of the biggest misunderstandings people have about strength is thinking it's measured by how forcefully you respond to things. A lot of people believe power means having the last word, proving someone else wrong, raising your voice, or showing everybody that you can't be challenged. But real strength has never been about dominating another person. It's always been about mastering yourself instead. Anyone can react. That takes no training, no awareness, and no discipline at all. A single spark lands on dry grass, and the fire spreads instantly. Human emotions often work the exact same way. One careless comment, one unexpected letdown, one moment of disrespect, and suddenly your mind is consumed by anger, fear, frustration, or resentment. What started as a tiny event can grow into hours, sometimes even days, of inner suffering. But a disciplined mind understands something different. It knows there's a gap between every event and every response. That gap might only last a few seconds, but your freedom lives inside those few seconds. Whoever learns to protect that gap becomes almost impossible to control. Think about this carefully for a second. If someone else's words can instantly flip your emotional state, who actually holds the power here? If a total stranger can make you angry with one sentence, then your peace has become dependent on someone who doesn't even know your worth. You've handed them the keys to your inner world without even realizing it. Mental strength begins the moment you stop giving other people authority over your emotions. That doesn't mean turning cold or emotionless. Anger, sadness, disappointment, fear, excitement, joy. These are all just part of being human. The goal was never to eliminate emotion. The goal is to stop emotion from becoming your master. Picture a skilled rider on top of a powerful horse. That horse has enormous strength, but without guidance, it could run wildly in any direction, putting both itself and the rider in real danger. The rider doesn't destroy the horse's power. He simply learns how to direct it wisely. Your emotions are that powerful horse. Anger isn't your enemy. Fear isn't your enemy. Even sadness isn't your enemy. They only become dangerous once they start making decisions on your behalf. So many of life's biggest regrets are born in moments when emotion overrides wisdom. A friendship ends over one uncontrolled sentence. A family falls apart because pride refuses to say sorry. A career suffers because frustration overpowers patience. One brief reaction can create consequences that stick around for years. This is exactly why disciplined people practice observing before acting. Watch your thoughts the way you'd watch clouds drifting across the sky. Some are dark, some are bright. Some vanish quickly, others linger longer than you'd expect. But none of them ever become the sky itself. Your emotions move through your awareness the same way. They're experiences, not your identity. When anger shows up, notice it. When fear shows up, observe it. When disappointment visits, acknowledge it's there without immediately obeying it. The moment you start observing your emotions instead of becoming them, you create real distance between yourself and your impulses. And that distance is exactly where wisdom lives. Most people confuse instant reaction with honesty. They think expressing every feeling the second it appears is what authenticity means. But not every feeling deserves to be voiced immediately. Some emotions need to be understood first, before they're ever communicated. A muddy pond can't reflect the moon clearly. Only still water gives you an accurate reflection. Your mind works the same way. When your emotions are turbulent, your perception gets distorted along with them. Words spoken in the middle of an emotional storm rarely reflect real wisdom. They usually just reflect temporary confusion, nothing more. This is why silence often becomes one of the strongest responses you have available. Silence isn't weakness. Silence isn't surrender. Silence is often the discipline of refusing to let a temporary feeling cause permanent damage. There are moments when speaking right away feels satisfying. You might believe you've defended yourself, protected your pride, or won an argument. But satisfaction gained through an emotional reaction fades fast. The consequences usually stick around much longer. A wise person asks a different question entirely. Instead of asking, "How do I win this moment?" they ask, "What response protects my peace tomorrow?" That single shift in thinking changes everything. Life is constantly handing you chances to practice this kind of emotional discipline. Someone cuts you off unfairly. Someone misreads your intentions. Someone criticizes your work without ever understanding your journey. Someone else succeeds while you're still struggling. Every one of these situations is really the same quiet test in disguise. Will you react automatically, or will you respond on purpose? Your future gets shaped far more by how you respond than by what actually happens to you. Watch how mountains stay put while storms move across them. Rain falls, wind howls, thunder echoes through the valley, and the mountain never argues back with the storm. It just stays grounded, exactly where it is. Try to become like that mountain, not because life is going to get easier, but because staying stable is what lets you survive the moments instability never could. There will always be people out there trying to provoke you. Some do it on purpose because chaos feels familiar to them. Others don't even realize they're projecting their own pain onto everyone around them. If you react to every single invitation to conflict, your life turns into one endless string of battles you never needed to fight. Not every challenge deserves your energy. Not every critic deserves your attention. Not every opinion deserves a response from you. One of the greatest freedoms you can have is choosing what no longer gets to control your mind. Your breath becomes an incredibly useful teacher here. Whenever emotion rises up strongly, come back to your breath. Not because breathing magically solves the problem, but because it pulls your awareness back into the present moment. Emotion drags your attention toward imagined futures or painful memories. Your breath brings you back to what's actually real right now. After just a few slow breaths, your mind often finds clarity that anger had stolen only moments earlier. Over time, this kind of emotional discipline builds something remarkable. People start trusting your presence. They know you won't explode under pressure. They know your words carry real thought instead of impulse. They know your calm stays available even when things get genuinely hard. That reliability becomes a quiet form of influence because people naturally gravitate toward whoever stays steady while everyone else is falling apart. You can't control everything that happens around you, but you can always train the quality of how you respond, and that's where your real power actually lives. Strength isn't something you find in a single day. It's built through thousands of quiet decisions that nobody ever claps for. Every morning you choose discipline over comfort. Every time you manage your emotions instead of reacting. Every distraction you turn down. Every challenge you face instead of avoiding it. These choices are quietly shaping a version of you the world can't easily break. People aren't drawn to perfection. They're drawn to authenticity, to people who stay calm while others panic and grounded while others scatter. That's a kind of magnetism nobody can fake. It has to be earned, one decision at a time, starting right now. If this gave you something to think about, don't let it end here. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share this with someone who needs to hear it today. Because the next step is the one you take the moment this video ends.